So please welcome Nir Hirshman, co-founder and CEO of the Israeli Crypto, Blockchain, and Web3 Companies Forum. He's going to present a review of the Israeli ecosystem and the activities of the forum during the past year. Nir? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let's see the clicker here and everything. So first of all, you'll have to excuse me, Ariel. Oh, I can't see anybody. Oh, there are people here. Hi, everybody. Well, I hope everything was great. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a quick presentation that I haven't shown anybody yet, just a part of the Crypto Companies Forum. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Israel right now. Because Crypto Companies Forum, I don't know if you know, but we've established about a year ago, and what we're doing is creating regulatory framework for Israeli companies who are operating globally. So when we're trying to go to the regulators and tell them, well, you need to change some bills, you need to change taxation, you need to change stuff, when we're doing it, we have to say something about what happens in the Israeli ecosystem. And in order to do that, we wanted to have some real information about what happens in Israel. Because nobody actually knows, right? We're working, we're building, and nobody actually knows what's going on. So let's dive into what's actually going on. And this is a first preview of that. So guys, you're privileged. So this is an actual snapshot of what happens now in Israel. So we're talking about 174 companies operating in Israel right now. Well, not as we speak. Most of them are here now. But, yeah, you can laugh a little bit. Yeah, everybody's fine? Okay. So we're talking about 3,800 employees. We're talking about $3.85 billion that was raised in capital. And we're talking about 10 sectors that Israeli companies are working in. Okay? So, what are the areas that we're talking about? So let's dive into this. So, first of all, most companies, as you might see, working at blockchain development sectors, meaning smart contracts, meaning actual blockchain developments, meaning all kind of stuff that actual deep tech and development. NFT tokenization, 34 firms, and trading, investing, 29 firms. You'll see in the upcoming slides that one thing about the trading sector is that it involves most employees in the area, which is kind of a figure that we're going to need to dive into a little bit, because I think it says something about the Israeli arena. Okay, so let's keep on going with the presentation. So, what companies did we see founded in 2022 in Israel? I think this is something that tells us a little bit more about what happens in the market. So, we can see that we have 5 companies that were founded in the sectors of wallet payments. Okay, so I think I don't need to elaborate on this, but let me elaborate a little bit on this. When we're talking about wallets, we put into that section big firms like Fireblocks. It actually obviously wasn't established this year, but just to keep you in mind. So we're talking about Fireblocks on one point of the spectrum, and Breeze, which Roy Schenfeld, I saw him, the other part of the sector. But when we're looking at it, we see that 5 companies in this arena was established in 2022. Tokenization, NFT, 3 companies, and others, you can see the distribution yourself. Oh, clicker stopped working? No? Okay, so how much capital was raised? So this, first of all, we're looking at the more conservative assumption. When we're looking at the capital raised in Israel, we actually used a common methodology of let's look at what was published and then sum it up. And afterwards, let's see a little bit more and let's make an assumption about how much money was raised in regarding to the size of the company, to the number of employees. So this is what we saw in publications, but this is a more accurate figure. So when we're talking about how much capital was raised, and this is only Israeli firms, we're talking about almost $4 billion. When we're talking about $1 billion in wallet and payments and $500 million at trading, investing, and blockchain development, you can see, we know that this is a conservative assumption. We want it to be conservative in order to be accurate, but you can assume that we have more money into this area. Companies' highest capital raised, Fireblocks, eToro, Starkware. You probably all know those companies. I think this stands for himself. So let's talk a little bit about employees. So I think this is one of the when we're talking about what profits the market the most, what gives more benefit to Israel at large. We're talking about employees mainly, okay? Because employees, it means jobs, it has its own waves. People need offices, people need to eat at lunch, people need to pay tax, people need to rent offices. So employees are something that is very beneficial. But when we're looking at it, we see that although most companies are on blockchain development, most employees are in trading investing. So first of all, I think the biggest benefit to this section is eToro with 846 employees, which is great on eToro. But when you look at the long tail of the industry, one might want to ask himself, you have 174 firms, and then you have 3,800 employees, and one firm is more than 800 employees only here in Israel. So what happens to the long tail? What happens to the small firms? We'll talk about it in 2 minutes, I guess. Okay, so Israeli workers, the crypto industry, as we said, I got it wrong. It's 887. Somebody got hired as. Okay, so Fireblocks 300. Chain Reaction. Actually, we didn't know that they were working. If there's somebody here from Chain Reaction, please come by afterwards. But it's actually an ASIC development company, as we know. Simplex, which was sold to Nuvei, and Starkware, DAOstack. A lot of employees on those companies. As you can see, the long tail is very, very, very long. Because if we're talking about 10 firms here, and the last one is 66 employees, you can actually deduct that this is something that's going on. We have a lot of early stage companies here in Israel. Okay, so when we're talking about blockchain development, we gave some examples about blockchain development. Starkware, as you probably know, what they're doing, and the Fireblocks and eToro, and those are the things that those are other players in the ecosystem. I wanted to give you, just to summarize this presentation, I wanted to give you a bit of an overview about what's happening globally, and then we'll come to the conclusion. Okay, so we'll run a little bit towards here. So first of all, those are all statistics that you might know or might not know, but those are all statistics that were released on the past year. We know that the numbers of identified, verified crypto users is on the rise, okay? And we know that the number of active addresses is on the rise too. All are, every detail is you can explain it to this direction or another direction, but when you take everything into consideration, you see a certain trend, okay? So active developers also arise, okay? So that means that first of all, now, okay, everybody who looks at that graph sees that you have a little bit of a slope in 2023, but 2022 was probably in all of the tech sector of 2022, as Shauli Rajuan, my co-founder at the forum, says, it was a crazy year. Everybody was hiring developers. So you might need to see some decrease in active developers everywhere in the tech sector. So you might need to see that decrease here too. But what is the overall conclusion, and why did I take you through those data? I think the overall conclusion is first that the arena that we're here, although there are a bit less people, let's face it, a little bit less people from last year, the arena that we're here is the right arena to be. It's a hot place, it's a hot market, it's something that will be developed. Although we're in the winter, although we're in a crypto winter, we see the developments, we see that we have more crypto users, we have more addresses, we have more developers, and this is something great. And we see that there are a lot of employees working in Israel. We see that there are 174 firms, so for 174 companies. So you might want to ask me, so what's your problem here? So the problem is that when we ask companies managers, when we ask CEOs, CFOs in Israel, we're asking them, okay, so do you have problems here working from Israel? And 80% of them say that 80% of them says that they have problems in opening bank accounts. 79% of them say that they have problems in getting bank transfers. 45% of them having problems in paying taxes, which is kind of weird, because if you have a lot of early stage companies and you have a few big players, then you might want to see those companies, some of them, grow and become those big giants. But then you ask yourself, okay, so if we're on a trending industry, and if we have so many early stage companies, how come they don't grow? And I think that the answer lies in the third part of that research that we made in last August, is that 33% of the startups which we talked with says that they're considering or have decided to leave Israel, and 24% decided not to hire more employees in Israel. And why is that? Because of the banking problems? Mainly because of the banking problems. Now, we as an organization, yeah, I can see, that's fine. 2 minutes, I'm closing. So we as an organization, the crypto companies firm, we took this, I think this big burden upon us to try and change the regulatory arena. Meaning that what we want is we want to create a regulatory framework for Israeli companies that work with the global market to operate from Israel. It's a difficult thing to do, but it's doable. If you can change the country, some say that you can change the regime. We won't let them, but some say that you can change the regime. That means that you can change the way that the government sees the crypto, blockchain, and Web3 industry. And when you see that there are so many early stage startups, you see that this is an engine. Sometimes when we're talking to the government, we're talking to the tax authority, we're talking to other authorities, it seems that they look at us as a cash cow, something that you need to milk and take what you can from it. But we're actually trying to tell them that the crypto and blockchain and Web3 industry is another kind of animal. It's more than a horse or maybe an engine that can take the Israeli economy forward. But this change that we are in the midst of, and we already established a crypto lobby at the Knesset, at the Israeli parliament. We already have a bill that will stop the discrimination on taxation. We already are doing a lot of stuff with the Bank of Israel in order to stop those things that I was talking about before. The only thing that will help us to do that is by joining together and fighting it together. Because I think most of us want to work here in Israel and want to develop our companies here in Israel. And I think that the only way that we can do it is by joining together and fighting for that cause together. And we at the Israeli Crypto Companies Forum are doing it daily. So if you want to ask me more about this, you're most welcome. And I welcome all of you to join. Any questions? No? Thank you very much.